This fossilized Neanderthal skeleton, seen here on exhibit in the Hall of Human Origins, is one of 10 discovered in Iraq's Shanidar Cave, which contains one of the world's largest collections of Neanderthal fossils. Scientists discovered about 130 entire bones as well as numerous little bits of this single person. It was like piecing together a gigantic jigsaw puzzle to put them all together in a single skeleton. When miners digging in a limestone quarry in Neander Valley, near Düsseldorf, Germany, discovered some strange-looking bones in 1856, further investigation revealed that they belonged to a previously unknown human species. This new species was related to, but separate from Homo sapiens, our own species. The newly discovered hominin was named for the valley in which it was found, Neanderthal, Dal meaning valley in Old German, and it has piqued the interest of anthropologists ever since. With their stooping posture and bent knees, Neanderthals were supposed to have resembled apes more closely than modern humans. Then, in the 1950s, Smithsonian archaeologist Ralph Solecki, a Columbia University team, and Kurdish workmen discovered the preserved bones of 8 adult and 2 child Neanderthal at the Shanidar Cave in northern Iraq, spanning burials from 65,000 to 35,000 years ago. Our perceptions about Neanderthals have been shifted as a result of this discovery. Shanidar Cave is a huge south-facing cave in northeast Iraqi Kurdistan, located near the foothills of the Baradost Mountains. Local herdsmen have been using caves in this area for millennia as a place to hide during winter storms. Between 1951 and 1960, archaeologist Ralph Solecki dug a 70 by 20 foot excavation in the cave's floor center, oriented about north-south. The trench reached a depth of 75 feet below ground level at its deepest point. Solecki eventually discovered the skeletal remains of 10 Neanderthal men, women, and children at the depth of 15 to 20 feet below the more recent habitation levels, a unique assemblage that validates the site's legendary standing in Neanderthal archaeology. Early hominids walked upright and had a more complex civilization than previously thought. One of the remains, known simply as Shanidar III, was discovered in 1957 and is a male Neanderthal who lived about 35,000 to 45,000 years ago, was 40 to 50 years old, and was around 5 foot 6 inches tall. Shanidar III is now on display at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, where it is housed in a fossil treasure cabinet, as described by Rick Potts, director of the museum's Human Origins program. Shanidar III is the Human Origin Collection's Hope Diamond and respected as such, Potts continues. The articulated upper body of an adult Neanderthal was recently uncovered near the Fowler burial location, the first articulated Neanderthal discovered in over 25 years. The individual was buried on purpose, according to stratigraphic evidence. With this unexpected discovery, current archaeological techniques can be used to look into Neanderthal funerary rituals. Solecki's groundbreaking research into Shanidar skeletons and graves revealed an abundance of socializing abilities. While some of the people were killed by boulders falling from the cave roof, he said that others were buried with proper funeral customs. Shanidar IV, the famous flower burial, was named after clumps of pollen grains were found in nearby strata and considered as evidence for the intentional arrangement of flowers with the corpse. Solecki suggested that the flowers had been buried with the Neanderthal deceased, based on the pollen found in one of the Shanidar graves. Until then, such burials had been associated only with Cro-Magnons, the earliest known Homo sapiens in Europe. As Solecki noted, someone in the last ice age must have ranged the mountainside the mournful task of collecting flowers for the dead. It seems reasonable to us today that lovely items like flowers should be placed with the cherished dead, Solecki continued, but finding flowers in a Neanderthal burial roughly 60,000 years ago is another issue. Skeletons revealed signs of injuries that had been tended to and healed, indicating that the sick and injured had been looked after. Shannadar, the First Flower People, published in 1971, embodied Solecki's attitude towards them. While The Clan of the Cave Bear, a novel by Jean Eyot, based on Solecki's study, combined fiction with archaeology in a 1980 bestseller that humanized, if not glamorized, Neanderthals. Owl had studied archaeology and anthropology before writing, which makes it more realistic because she was able to make it seem like she experienced it herself. The clan members adopt an orphaned Cro-Magnon kid who understands things beyond their comprehension, predicting the destiny of the Neanderthals. Neanderthals would become extinct as a result of being outcompeted by Cro-Magnons. Climate change, according to Potts, was the catalyst for their demise. As glaciers progressed, Neanderthals traveled south from their northernmost habitat in Central Europe and settled in the wooded regions of Iberia, modern-day Spain and Portugal, and Gibraltar, some 33,000 years ago. They thrived there for thousands of years, maybe until 28,000 years ago, when they were superseded by a highly adaptable competitor, the Cro-Magnon. As Cro-Magnon groups had already moved to Neanderthals' former areas, Potts felt that, aided by their ability to make warmer, more form-fitting clothing, modern humans gained a foothold they never relinquished. Neanderthals lived in ever smaller and more isolated places, eventually vanishing from the world as a species due to what is now known as habitat loss. It's not that the Neanderthals were not smart. Potts says they had brains the same size as the Cro-Magnons and were very clever at using local resources. They simply lacked the ability to expand their thinking and adapt to changing conditions. The Shannadar fossils are still a hot topic in discussions regarding Neanderthal burial customs and the evolutionary origins of purposeful burial, as well as Pleistocene hominid behavior, diet, and morphology. Recent evidence of interbreeding between Neanderthals and modern humans, as well as the possibility that it took place in Southwest Asia, gives the archaeology of Shanidar Cave a fresh lease on life. Shanidar III's own tale, on the other hand, is based on specific circumstances rather than evolutionary processes. There is quite a severe and deep cut to the rib on Shanidar III's left side, Potts revealed. Cut deep enough to collapse his lung, so Shanidar III is the oldest known individual who could have been murdered. Despite the fact that the flower burial idea was later debunked, Shanidar people continue to influence our understanding of Neanderthal biology and behavior. Shanidar I's disabling injuries, for example, reflect group care, whereas Shanidar III's rib puncture wound suggests interpersonal aggression. When the remains of Shanidar IV were discovered in 1960, it was decided to encapsulate them in wood and plaster in the sediment block of approximately 1 meter by half meter deep. This block was then taken to the Baghdad Museum for excavation, where it was discovered that at least 3 people, Shanidar IV, VI, and VIII, were represented here, as well as the vertebrae of an infant, Shanidar IX. The precise stratigraphic relationships between the people are unknown due to disruption of the block during transportation from Shanidar to Baghdad, on a cab roof no less. Shanidar IV was clearly the highest in the group of the people, implying that either numerous people died and or were buried in the same site, or that Neanderthals returned to the same spot to bury multiple people. In any case, important, if not unique, evidence for the intricacy of Neanderthal funeral behavior would be provided. However, the precise links between the individuals, as well as the evidence regarding whether or not they were purposely buried, remains unknown. A study effort has been excavating at Shanidar Cave for the past few years in an attempt to clarify some of the questions left unexplained by previous digs, as we shall discuss in Part 2.